Hello and welcome to Gila's Tap House, and thank you for tuning in to Season 1, Episode 1 of the Average Joe Beer Connoisseur. That's me, obviously. Now you're probably thinking, Average Joe, Connoisseur, how do those things go hand in hand? I'll explain that to you here in a couple minutes. I would like to go over an intro, since this is my first episode, to describe a few things to you. Why I'm doing this, who I am, my beers, my rating system, things along that nature. Now I know some of you have ADHD, you're very impatient, and you just want to get to the beer, you want to get to the reason why we're here. Well, I posted below in the comments the time you can skip to, so you can just fast forward through the intro. I'll give you a couple seconds to do that. All right. So about 3.5 years ago, I downloaded the social media app Untappd, and my life changed forever. Now, for those of you who don't know what Untappd is, maybe you've never heard of it, or you downloaded it and you just haven't used it. It's basically Facebook and Twitter for beer lovers. It allows you to check in your beers, rate your beers, share it with other people that are around, your friends. You can also see what people are drinking locally. You can see what's on tap at different places, which is a very nice feature. And the reason that I love the app is because it's very beneficial to keep record of all the beers you're drinking. Because after you get to so many, take it from me, you have a hard time remembering what you've had. Now, Untappd offers this thing called badges. So as you drink certain beer, you unlock your badges. To me, I turned it into a game. And I tried to collect all the badges, kind of like Pokemon. And in doing so, I developed a love for all styles of beer, all types of craft beer that you can think of. I like to drink it all. I want to try them all. So that takes me to my first point of why I'm doing this. I'm doing this because simply I love beer. This is fun for me. I want to do this. I like talking about it. I do eventually want to open up a brewery, maybe a brew pub, something along those lines, have my hands in it. Another reason I'm doing this is because when I first started out, I'd be checking reviews of different beers, and the people were reviewing things that I never heard of, never saw, or it was like $22 for a 12-ounce bottle. Toppling Goliath, it's out in Iowa, you probably never heard of it. They have a bottle of beer that's $100 for 12 ounces. Most people aren't going to want to spend that money. So for the average Joe fans, they need to be able to go somewhere where they can learn about different styles of beer, learn about different beers that maybe they've seen on the shelves and never had before. And that's kind of what I'm doing. I would like to reach out to those people that are just casual average Joe beer fans. And so that takes me to my point of the beers that I'm going to be reviewing. Every week I'm going to do a flight of 4. I'm going to do 1 or 2 beers that I've had before, and then I'm going to do 1 or 2 beers that I've never had. So I'm going to be giving you a review on the fly, tell you about the taste, the style, drinkability, things along those lines. And then at the end I'm going to have a domestic beer. People that are watching this still probably enjoy their domestic beers, so I'm going to be having one of those for those people as well. So my rating system is going to be based on 3 things. First is drinkability. How easy does it go down? How smooth is it? How much can you drink of it? Second is going to be taste for style. You can't do a beer review without rating the beers for style. And then lastly, will it get you drunk? All beer will, but that'll factor in a couple different things. Alcohol content. The drinkability will factor in a little bit more. Is it smooth? Can you chug it? Do you have to sip on it because the alcohol is a little too boozy for you? Those are all things that will factor in. So my rating system, I wanted it to be just slightly unique to see what was going on. And then I'll give you a full overall rating at the end. So I'll take all those 3 things into consideration, and then at the end I'll rate it, and I'll be rating it on a scenario as such. I'm sitting at a bar, and it's endless beer, as much as I can drink, all that I want. And they offer me a quarter pour, half pour, 3/4 pour, or a full pour. And how much of this beer am I going to drink before I move on to the next one? Now, I thought about using stars or hops, scales 1 to 5. To me, that wasn't the same. I want to know how much of this beer is worth drinking. So that's my system for you. So lastly, that takes you to why I chose the Average Joe Beer Connoisseur. Currently, I have about 3,300 to 3,400 different beers under my belt. I can tell you what beer tastes like by style. I can pick the different notes out. I know what a beer is supposed to taste like and how it's supposed to go. But I am far away from being a beer judge or a connoisseur that has like 40,000, 50,000 different beers under their belt. And I know that. But for the target audience that I'm shooting for, the average Joe, the people that are just going and selecting maybe something new every once in a while, and in the beers that I want to check in, average Joe beers, I am somewhat of a connoisseur to that. So that takes me to the beers that I will be checking in on my flight of 4. I want to take the opportunity to give credit where credit is due. Sometimes I find beer that are excellent in flavor, excellent in style, but they're not rated highly. People don't hear of them. No one ever buys them. That gives me the opportunity to give that beer a credit. There's also breweries out there that make a lot of good, just solid around stuff that no one ever hears of, no one ever thinks about buying. So I want to give credit to those as well. All right, now we're finally here for the moment that I've mainly been waiting for, the beer sampling. First up, we have Yard's Cape of Good Hope. Now every year, Yard's changes their recipe for it. I remember the first time I ever had it. It was 2015. Me, my wife, and her family were all out celebrating her birthday. And at that time, I was drinking any beer I could get my hands on that I never had before. So the waitress says, "You want some Cape of Good Hope?" I said, "Sure." She came over, brought it to me. I took the first sip, and the heavens opened up. Joy to the world was being sung by angels, and everybody in the world was at peace. I don't have children, but I can imagine that's what it's like when you hold your firstborn baby, when you look into its eyes for the first time. That's how I felt about this beer. And then I had to have 4 or 5 more on my mother-in-law's tap. Today, I have the 2018 version. So they changed the recipe. The 2018 version is not my favorite year. It's still very phenomenal. If you see it, you still have to try it. It's not my favorite. But let's go ahead and take a sip and we'll see what we can find out. Solid stuff. So it's a double IPA, 9.3%. And it swallows like water. It's not overly bitter. There's a little bit of citrus kick to it, and it's very, very drinkable. So drinkability, top notch right there. Taste for style, double IPA. It's up there. It's not 2015. The 2015 I'd put up there with some of the top double IPAs in the world, Heady Topper and things along those lines. The 2018 for the style it's a little sweeter, a little maltier than I would want in an IPA, but I've also had it sitting around for a while because I forgot that I had a case of it, so that might be a factor. But it's still really, really good. And will it get you drunk? Fun story about that. I bought a case of this. It was probably 2016, 2017 of it. Took it to a friend's house. There's a couple friends hanging out, and I just wanted them to try it. We were going to play some drinking games later with like Pabst or Keystone. And I thought maybe we would drink a 6-pack of this, just, you know, everyone can love what I love. And when I got there, we drank it, you know, everything. Woke up the next morning, slightly hungover, realized we drank the entire case. This beer is 9.3%. At that time, it was 9.7%. Swallows like water, goes down. It doesn't fill you up. You can play drinking games with it. So as far as will it get you drunk? Absolutely. I don't recommend doing that because you should cherish beers like this. But it can if you wanted it to. So my final overall rating for it, I'm giving it a full pour. I'm going to give it a full pour anytime I have the opportunity to drink it. It's just one of those beers that I can't pass up. It's my favorite double IPA. And we're moving on to our next beer. I know I said that I probably wouldn't be rating beers that you might not get your hands on. I'm rating beers for the average Joe. So today I have the Bourbon Barrel Aged Expedition Stout. It's a pretty hard beer to get your hand on. They made it, and a lot of the places around here can only get one case. You had to stand in line to get some. I ended up just showing up and getting some early in the morning from the guy that I knew, so I was very, very lucky. When I first started, I wanted to do this. I wanted to do Cape of Good Hope, and I wanted to do the Expedition, the regular Expedition Stout from Bell's, because it's my favorite Russian Imperial Stout. But I don't have any more. So what's the next best thing? Well, the one that's been barrel aged. So what they did is they take the Russian Imperial Stout, the Expedition Stout, and they age it for 12 months in bourbon barrels. And what it does to the beer, it blows you away. So the Russian Imperial Stout is excellent. This one is better. Let me go ahead and taste it for you. I forgot how good that beer was, to be honest with you. Is it worth trading my wife into human trafficking for a guaranteed case every year? You know, probably not. But it's still a really damn good beer. I should probably take a moment to say that that was a joke and that human trafficking is very serious, especially in our area where we live. And do not get me shut down on YouTube for cracking that joke. I will give you plenty of opportunities in the next year to shut me down. I promise. You know, don't shut me down after episode 1. Okay? Thanks. So let's go with drinkability. It's so smooth. It's been aged a year. It's so crisp. It's very dark, roasty, and you get that hint of bourbon at the end that just kind of tickles the back of your throat, everything you want it to be. And as you drink it, it even gives you like a little warm sensation. It fills you up. Taste, I've had a lot of bourbon barrel aged stouts. Russian Imperial Stouts are my favorite type of beer, favorite style, I guess you'd call it. And I tried everything under the sun. I've had gold medal winners at Great American Beer Fest. I've had gold medal winners at Worlds. And this is right up there with all of them. This is top-notch quality stuff. It doesn't have the accolades that the other beer has, but it is still phenomenal. And then will it get you drunk? Well, it's 13.4%. And I could chug this beer if I had to. Actually, I'm going to take another drink just because I think it's that tasty. It's so good. If you ever get a chance to get your hands on it, buy it. That's only if you like Russian Imperial Stouts. If you don't like dark beers, don't get it because it does have all of those flavors that you would get with a dark beer. And I don't want you being mad at me. So I've had these two beers before. They're two of my all-time favorites. Two that I've given 5 stars on Untappd. You know, I can't change that. This right here, I would take a full pour of it anytime. Full pour of it anytime. Now we're moving on to the last beer. Not the last beer, the third to last beer here, the beer that I've never had before. Today we have Platform. It's out of Cleveland, but they're extremely popular all over Ohio. They're in Columbus, they're in Cincinnati, and they're all across America right now. People are looking for these different beers because they do a lot of different things that excite people. Like this one is a chocolate banana donut beer, which sounds extremely interesting. Now, this type of beer is a Berlin-Weiss. Okay, but that's not how you're supposed to say it. I know that, but that's what most people would call it. It's a Berlin Weisser is the most proper name. I think I'm saying that correctly. I had German, but it's not very good. It hasn't stuck with me. So this beer is supposed to be a little sour, and it's supposed to have a little chocolate and a little banana flavor. Now, I picked this beer because it just came out, just got released, and I had Fostered Banana last year, and it was excellent. I don't really like banana-flavored things, but I had to get more of the Fostered last year. So this is really good, and I wanted to try it. So I'm going to try it right now for the first time, and let's see what happens. It's really good stuff. So what it's supposed to taste like is it's supposed to have like a sour kick to it, and it's supposed to have a banana and chocolate flavor to it. To me, it tastes like you took a banana and you dipped it in dark chocolate and you're eating it with like a little sour kick at the end. It's excellent. Drinkability, it's very easy to drink. For me, sours, when I drink them, I can't drink them real fast. Like I have to take my time while drinking them. So the drinkability of this one is very smooth. It's very easy to drink. Taste for a style, for what it's supposed to taste like, it says it tastes like a chocolate banana, and that's exactly what it tastes like. And then, will it get you drunk? At 5.5%, you'd have to drink quite a few of them, but it's delicious. So you could drink it all day. The way it tastes to me, like you could have it for breakfast. It has donut on the name. Why not? You could have it playing sports outside in the summertime. You could have it for dessert because it tastes like it should. It's phenomenal. It's excellent. I would give this a full pour as well, actually. I was actually thinking when I bought it, I'd give it like a 3/4 pour and we'd have my first non-full pour, but I can't. It's just that good. So if you get your hands out there, go ahead and try it, and I would highly recommend it. Lastly, we have Miller High Life. And I remember in high school, I was at a party and everyone was drinking Keystone, and this kid had a cooler in the back of his truck and everybody was drinking the Keystone. He offered me a Miller High Life and I was like, oh, what's this? He's like, Miller High Life, it's the best beer you'll ever have. And at that time, he was right. You know, I was walking around that party, I got the champagne of beers. It's that good. So in college, I met my wife, and she didn't like beer. The only thing she would ever drink is Pinnacle Whipped, you know, with like orange soda or something in it. It did not appeal to me at all. And so I slowly got her into drinking beer because it was cheaper on my pockets by drinking Miller High Life. And it was like one of the only beers she would drink for a very, very long time. So let's go ahead and take a sip of this. Now, Miller High Life is not a light beer. I've heard a lot of people say, well, it's one of those light beers. It's not. It's actually an American-style lager. So it's not light. It's a little fuller. It's got more calories to it, but it's still crisp and refreshing as you would expect. So drinkability, it goes down smooth, as they should. That's the style of beer. Taste, for domestic cheap beers, it's really good. You know, it's one of the better ones out there, I would say. And then for will it get you drunk? I'm sure everyone out there has a story of Miller High Life getting them drunk. Like, it's just a thing. You can drink one after another. It's pretty simple stuff. Now to my rating. And I'm going to upset some people here, I know. I'm only going to give this about a half pour. At a scenario where you have all these beers to drink, you're not going to want to drink more than a half pour of this. That's a pretty high rating for it. Still really good, still highly recommended for a domestic beer, you know, but it's not craft. It's not there. But as far as domestics go, it's up there as one of the best. And lastly, I was talking to my wife about doing this show. She didn't think it was a great idea because she doesn't think I'm very funny, comedic, or very, I guess, photogenic. And she said, well, if you're going to do this beer show, why don't you have a beer for people that don't like beer? Or why don't you have a beer for someone who has a significant other who's not into the beer game? Because I know when I first started drinking with her, we would go to a brewery, we'd have like maybe a flight, or she'd have like one, and then she'd want to go do something else because she just wasn't into craft beer yet. And I said, you know what, that's a very good idea. So I have Taylor's Easy Drinking Recommendation of the Week. Go ahead and grab this here. Today we have Otto's Apricot Wheat. So Otto's is out of State College, Pennsylvania. One of the few things I like about State College, Pennsylvania. And their ice cream is actually really good too. But Otto's Apricot Wheat is excellent. Wheat beers sometimes have an aftertaste. They kind of linger a little too long. This does not do that because you drink the beer, you get the wheat style, and then it just hits you with apricot. Now, it's not an overpowering apricot. It's kind of like a lingering, subtle, but it's strong. Like, you know it's there. And it's very easy drink. And this is the first beer that she loved. She got a flight of this beer, and well, a flight, and then this beer was in it. And then when she got another one, and she made me buy a case of this before we left. And then anytime we're in the area, I have to get a case of it. It's just so, you know what? She told me not to drink this because we're almost out, but I don't care. I have to try it while we're sitting here. Oh yeah. Tastes like you just bit into an apricot. Like it's phenomenal. Highly recommend that too. So if you have someone out there that doesn't like craft beer, go ahead and get them this. I'm gonna go ahead and put this to the side here. Go ahead and get them that. That's a good place to start. Otto's makes some good stuff overall. So I just want to thank everybody again for coming out, watching my first episode. I know there's a lot of things that I need to improve on. The lighting in here is pretty messed up. The audio is probably off. I need to put some background music, some special effects, all those sorts of things. I know I need to work on that. But if you can think of other things that I could do to really better the show, to make you want to come back and watch more, go ahead and post it in the comments below. Also, while you're down there, please comment on beers that you like, that maybe I could rate, maybe I could try, maybe I've never heard of before. That is also something that would really make me happy too. So going forward here, I'm going to give you my cheesy catchphrase, just because everyone's got to have a cheesy catchphrase. And then you can also comment on that below. So here it is. Remember, happiness is only a flight away. If you can think of a better one, go ahead and post that below. But until then, cheers.